In this video, we will go through the process of extrusion modeling. Hopefully you've watched the previous video on box modeling. Just to give a quick explanation of what box modeling is. Box modeling is the process in which you take a geometric primitive, such as a cube or a cylinder like we have on the screen right now, and add subdivisions, essentially dividing the shape up with more edges and vertices, like so, and molding and shaping the object as we see fit. So for instance, I could select this edge loop here and start molding this into whatever kind of shape or object I desired. So for instance, I could probably mold this into, say, a vase or I don't know, anything that you essentially wanted, essentially. But we have the opposite to that, which is extrusion modeling. Extrusion modeling can best be explained as a method of adding geometry to your polygon primitive by use of tools such as the extrusion tool. The whole idea is that we select faces and we can collapse them in or set an offset to them, or even extrude faces of a polygon, cylinder or cube, etc. outwards along its surface in order to mold and shape it in different ways. Extrusion modeling allows us to make more sort of complex shapes and waves, etc., that you couldn't really do with box modeling. So for instance, if we look at this cube right now, if I hold on the right mouse button and go to face, I can select this face right here, and for instance, if I want to make this kind of curve around, I can't really do it with this. Maybe I could probably add in some extrusions, but it's not really going to work. Sorry, not extrusions, edge loops. What I can do is, if I go to edit mesh and go to extrude, what this does is that it pulls this forward. It creates a whole new set of faces, edges and vertices that we can now manipulate. When you do extrude, you do get this little options panel that pops up, which allows you to give you the thickness, which you can put a numerical value in for, provide an offset, like so, and again you can put a numerical value in there, and add in more subdivisions. So for instance, if I just go back a few steps, right now I've extruded, and what I can do is I can keep extruding and mold this into the shape that I want. And I can't really do this with box modeling techniques. You'd have to use extrusion modeling techniques. Now this doesn't look that great at the moment, like kind of like a really bad looking snake, but we'll give it a quick example of how beneficial it is. So for instance, if I was to make a chair, for instance, what I could do is you could make, say, for example, you got the base of the chair there, maybe duplicate it, squish this down to make legs, for instance. That works kinda, but again, it's not really an efficient way to actually do modeling. In fact, it's kind of childish and really not efficient whatsoever. Yeah. Again, you don't want to be having to have 5 different objects just to make one simple object which we could use extrusion modeling for. So for instance, I have the base of this chair right now. Actually, I might make it a little bit thinner. What I could do is go to mesh tools. Let's go to insert edge loop. Put 2 there, 2 at the side. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this up like so. Yeah, that seems about right. And what I can do now is I can select the bottom faces. Now at the moment, if I try to move them down, it will pull the whole thing down. So what I need to do is I need to extrude these faces outwards. And to do that, we hold down Shift and the right mouse button. And again, we have all these different options here for different tools. What we want to do is go to Extrude Face. And now I can add a bit of thickness to it. So what I can do is I can bring it down. You can use the manipulators here as well. So for instance, you can see that we have the arrows here to move them up or down or in different directions, like so. And we have the cues, which we can then add a bit of a offset to, or just to kind of scale in different directions. But for now, we're going to just keep it to that. So for example, yeah, that seems about right. Then we can do the back of the chair, for instance. So I'm going to select the top 2 faces here. Hold Shift, right mouse button, and extrude. I'm just going to bring that up pretty much around, a bit too high. Perfect. Then I can give it some offsets here. 5 should be okay. I'm going to select these two faces here. And again, you can see that the main tool that I've used to create this chair is always been the extrusion tool. I haven't used any other tools or techniques so far. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to give this a bit of an offset, like it's panels on a chair. Give it a slight bit of offset, and then I'm going to bring this down like so. Yeah, sweet. And again, what I'm going to do is, I can't really pull this out because again, you can kind of see it has like this weird triangle shape to it. So again, what I'm going to do is extrude once again to bring it out. Like so. And what I can do as well is I can delete these faces. Just select the edge loops, the open edge loops. Bring those together. And I can merge these edges and vertices together by going to Vertex, click and drag. Hold on Shift, merge vertices, merge vertices. Now that way, that's a full edge loop. So it's all clean and ready to go. So yeah. As you can see, I didn't need to create 5 or 6 or 10 different cubes. All I did was extrude. It's an extremely important tool to use. You pretty much cannot get anywhere unless you can extrude. What I would say right now is play around with the extrude tool. Create shapes or objects that would require it, such as like say chairs or say like a little bit of a wave, for instance. Anything that you can think of. Play around with the extrusion tool. It is a key and vital tool that you will need to use. Box modeling and extrusion modeling techniques are not mutually exclusive to one another. You will be mix and matching those techniques all the time. So for instance, I could just start manipulating this using more box modeling techniques by just moving this down and kind of shaping it to the way that I want it to, for instance, to make this really awful, bizarre looking chair. But it is possible. So play around with the extrusion tool, get a feel for it and understand how it works.